Hello everyone, welcome you back to the science class. I hope you all are doing good, right students? So dear children, as you all know, these days we are doing the chapter sorting materials into groups, right? So we have done many activities in this chapter, clear? So today also in this session we shall be doing the different properties of the material along with some activities. Is that clear? But before starting the session, let us recapitulate what we have done in the previous class. So in the previous video, we have discussed about the properties of materials, wherein we discussed about the two properties, that is the appearance and the hardness. So under appearance, we have discussed about the lustrous and non-lustrous materials, and under hardness, we have discussed about hard and soft objects. Clear? I hope you all have remembered that. Yes? So today in this video, we shall be continuing with the properties of materials, means we shall be dealing with other three properties. Okay, so before we start our class, let us look the objectives first. So the objectives for today's class are to make the students aware of the different properties of the materials, okay, to make them understand about solubility, flotation and transparency. So these are the different properties. Clear? So I think let us start now. Okay, let's start our class. So let's start with the first property, that is solubility. Now what do you mean by solubility? Solubility means it is the property, okay, property due to which a material, either it get soluble in water or it will not get soluble in water. Means solubility is the property which decides which materials are soluble in water and which are non-soluble in water. So we have some activities, we have some experiments to prove that. So can you tell me some examples of the materials which can be soluble in water? Do you have any example? Yes. So we can take the example of a lemon juice. Okay, lemon juice is very nicely soluble in water. And then we can take the example of vinegar also. Alright, so let us perform the activity for to understand that. So for doing this activity, I have taken this beaker of, this beaker with water. Alright, so let us start with the first sample. So here is a lemon piece. Okay, now we will see whether this lemon juice is soluble in water or not. So I'm squeezing this lemon juice, I'm squeezing this lemon here. Alright, now let us stir it. Okay, let me stir. Please ignore the presence of the seeds. Okay, now we can see that the lemon juice has uniformly mixed with this water. That means the lemon juice has uniformly dissolved in this water. So we can say that lemon juice is soluble in water. We are not able to separate the lemon drops from the water. That means it has mixed up thoroughly. Okay, so this is soluble. Clear? Now we will try with some other sample. So again I am taking water. All right, now we will, this is what? This is the white vinegar. Okay children, so let's check whether vinegar is soluble in water or not. Yes. So you see, I have mixed this vinegar in water. Now after stirring it, see, so nicely the vinegar has got mixed with the water. Can you see this? Yes, it is very clear, isn't it? So we can say that vinegar is soluble in water. Clear, students? We cannot differentiate between vinegar and water. It is completely uniformly dissolved in water. So we can say vinegar is soluble in water. Okay. Now, let us try it with some few more samples. So I am taking again water here. Now here is sand. Alright, now let us check what will be the result if I will try to dissolve this sand in this water. So you see, children, I am stirring it. And then let us hold on. So you see, sand is not dissolving in water. Alright, you can see it does not get dissolved in water. Even after stirring, we are able to identify the sand particles. Yes, so we can say that sand is not soluble in water. Clear, everyone? Alright, so now let us again try to dissolve this coconut oil. Okay, this is coconut oil. Now I have mixed, I poured this coconut oil here. Yes, you see, children, I am stirring it. Okay, I am stirring it. So now let us check what is the result. After keeping it for some time, also, this oil has not mixed. You can see we can very clearly able to distinguish the oil, the oil from the water. It has not mixed. Even after stirring it for a longer duration, the oil has not dissolved in the water. You see, again it is coming back. Alright, so we can say that this coconut oil is not soluble in water. Clear, students? I hope you all have understood. So we have seen that after doing this activity, there are some materials, those who dissolve in water uniformly and rather it can disappear. So those materials are called soluble materials. Alright, and there are some materials, those who do not get completely mixed up with water, those are called as non-soluble materials. Clear? So I think the first property is very clear to you all. Yes. So now let us start with the second property. So the second property is what? Floatation. Floatation means what? It is the property by which a material, either it floats on the surface of water or it gets sink below the surface of water. Clear? So let us discuss about floatation. Means there are some materials, those who float, and there are some materials, those who sink in water. Clear? So I have an activity to prove that. So now, dear students, let us do the activity. Let us do the activity related to the property floatation. Okay. Now I have some materials here. This is a plastic earbud. This is a dry leaf. This is a key and this is a safety pin. Now let us dip it in water and see the result. Yes. So now we have seen that some of the materials, they are floating on the surface, and some gets sink in the water. Okay, so those material which are on the surface of this water are floating material, means they float on the surface of water, and there are some materials which get sink in the below the surface of water. So here we can say that this leaf and this plastic earbud, since they are lighter, they are the floating object. Alright, and this key and the safety pin, okay, since they are heavy, they are, they get sink in the water. So this is the second property. So we can say that by doing this activity, we can say that there are some objects, okay, there are some objects, those who float on water, and there are some objects, those who sink in water. Clear? So I think this activity is clear for you all. Yes, students? Now let us move on to the third property. Okay, now the third property is transparency. So this is the property of some materials which allows the light to pass through it. Alright, so transparency is nothing but it is the property in which materials allows the light to pass through it in different amount. Clear? So to prove this, let us do one activity. Alright, so for doing this activity, children, I have 3 different materials with me. So this you can see, it's a book. Alright, this is a transparent cellophane paper, and this is a tracing paper. Alright, now what we are going to do is, we are going to look this particular object through this different materials. Alright, now let us start. So let's start to look this particular object through this cellophane paper. So you can see, we are so you see that this thermometer is very clearly visible through this plastic paper, through this cellophane paper. Alright, why this is so now? This is because light is able to pass through this particular cellophane paper, means light can easily pass through it. Okay, so this is transparent. So we can check this same material with the help of glass tumbler also. Okay, so this is a transparent object, or you can say this is a transparent material through which light can easily pass through, and we are able to see the objects which are present in the other side. So even if suppose I hold it in front of these words, we are very easily able to see those side. That side means those words we are able to see, because light is easily passing through this particular material, that is the cellophane paper. Clear? So this is a transparent object. Clear? Now let us try the same thing with this tracing paper. Now this paper, if I'll try to look this thermometer. So you see, thermometer is visible, but it is partially visible. It's not very clear. Why it's not very clear? Because light is partially, this paper is allowing the partial light to pass through it. Means the light is not passing fully through this tracing paper. Means this is why we are not able to see this object very clearly. Okay, we can see it partially. Is that clear? So this tracing paper is what? It's translucent. Okay, the nature is translucent. Translucent means what? It is only allowing partial light to pass through it. That is the reason we are not able to get the clear view of that object. We are looking it partially. Is that clear? So these are translucent objects. So let us keep it aside. Now let us try with this textbook. Sorry, with this book. Now, if suppose I'll keep it over here and my material is down. Alright. Now, I'm not able to see at all the thermometer because this is an opaque object. Light is not allowed to pass through it completely. Alright. Because light is not passing through this object. It becomes an obstacle in the route or in the passage of light. Okay. That is the reason we are not able to see this thermometer. Not clearly nor even partially also. Now, what is the reason? The reason is that light is not allowed to pass through it. So, this is an opaque object. Understood, children? Light is not passing through this. That is the reason why we are not able to see the object. So, this is an opaque object. Clear? And there is one more thing, related to the opaque object. If I hold an opaque object in the way of light, it will form the shadow because light is not allowed to pass through. Okay, we can prove that also. We can prove one more thing, that the opaque object, when it comes, okay, in the way of light, then it casts a shadow. So you see the tube light is there. Okay. Now when I place this book, okay, when I place this book, can you see this? This is what? It is casting one shadow. Okay. So this is the nature of the opaque object, that when it comes under the way of light, in the way of light, then it casts shadow because the light is not allowed to pass through it. The same reason. Light is not allowed to pass through it. That is why this object is casting this shadow this side. So this is the special characteristics of an opaque object. Clear? I hope you all have understood all the activities. Yes, students? So I think I wind up for today because we have come to the end of the chapter as well. So these were the 3 properties which were at the end part of your chapter. Clear, students? So before I wind up this session, let us recapitulate what all we have discussed in this video. Clear? So in this video, we have discussed the different properties of the materials, starting with the first, that is solubility. So the first property was what? Solubility. This was the property through which an object, either it dissolves in water or it does not dissolve in water. Okay. So we have seen there are some soluble objects, those who get dissolved and completely get disappeared in water, and then some of the other objects, those who do not get mixed up with water or other disappear in water. So we have taken the example of the dissolving material like vinegar and lemon juice, and those who do not dissolve in water, we have taken the sand and what else? The coconut oil. Yes, so we have proof like that. So again, for the second property was flotation. Means the flotation was the property in which some of the objects, they float in water and some get sink in water. So for that, we have taken the example of dry leaf. Yes, the dry leaf and the plastic earbud. So that two things being lighter, they float over the surface of water, and the key, the safety pin and the key, they get sink because of the heavier weight, or you can say the density. Is that clear? So we have proof there. And then at the last, we discussed about the transparency, the property through which an object allows amount of light to pass through it. So we have proved, we have taken 3 different materials, okay, to prove that. Alright, so what we have done in those 3 materials, we have taken a cellophane paper, okay, through which we have tried to check the thermometer. We could able to see that because that was a transparent object which allows the light completely to pass through it. Yes, then we have taken the next example, that was the tracing paper. Okay, the tracing paper, when we tried to look that same thermometer through this tracing paper, we could able to see only the partial image. It was not very clear because it allowed the partial light to pass through it. Clear? And then at the end we have tried to check the same thing with the book, which was an opaque object, and through that book we were not able to see the thermometer totally, because the opaque object is not allowing the light to pass through it. Is that clear? So opaque object we discussed, and there we discussed about the shadow formation. We have discussed that when an opaque object comes in the way of light, then it casts the shadow. Clear? I hope everything is clear for you all children. So for today I wind up. Thank you so much for listening to me, and at the end, stay safe, stay healthy. See you in the next class.